Time for the drivers and teams to limber up for the second race in the weekend here at Dubai Autodrome, the third round of the F4 UAE Championship 2024. Now, race 2, if you've already been watching the championship, is the reverse grid race. If you haven't, well, the top 12 finishers from race 1 are reversed for the grid for race 2. That means whoever finishes 12th in race 1 gets to start from pole position in race 2. Now, 2 weeks ago at the Yas Marina circuit, one of the men to benefit from that grid draw was Keanu Al-Azari, finishing 10th in race 1. He got to start 3rd on the grid for race 2. That pushed him into a race-winning position, and he was able to seal his first win of the 2024 campaign. He now has 2 wins, and he's catching up to Freddie Slater in the points tally. So how is it going to go heading into race 2? Racing at the Dubai Autodrome usually provides as many dramas as it does overtakes, so we could be in for a thrilling weekend for the third round of F4 UAE 2024. Here's how things stack up heading into the contest. The rapid rise of the Mumbai Falcons in F4 continues in earnest as Freddie Slater holds a decent advantage, and both Kian Nakamura-Berta and Alex Powell have proven they have what it takes to catch him. For Dion Gouda, we'll finally be able to see his true mettle after recovering from an early illness. The Yas Heat Academy come off the back of their strongest weekend in the championship after 2 wins for Keanu Al-Azari back-to-back in Abu Dhabi. Also, it's worth remembering that Zach Scholar has made an instant impression in his car racing debut, so there are 2 bright stars herein. Prema Racing continued to shine in F4, but it was mixed fortunes in all 3 races a fortnight ago for Rashid Al Daheri, the Emirati, and French starlet Dorian Pain. Both have shown that they can win races and have the speed to play for silverware. If qualifying goes well, wins will not be a big shock. The British quartet at High-Tech Pulse 8 continue to banter, badinage and battle, not just with their opponents, but with each other. Gabriel Stilp, Deegan Fairclough, Reza Saworthan and Sebastian Murray are rarely seen apart in the paddock, and it's strength in numbers that keep them in contention. In F4, it hasn't been a bed of roses so far for PHM AIX, and Nikita Bedrin hasn't quite made the impact he'd have hoped for, despite a win in the opening weekend. But the team has more than enough resource and sagacity to return to the top spot, with Everett Stack, Max Popov and Kamal Murad all chasing their first win. The Santalok team have been frustrated by disappointment. Matteo Quintarelli and Yvan David could and should have double their current tallies, and Max Restrepo will want more from round 3. But now they're joined by RHGP refugee Jules Caranta. Expect more terrific racecraft on the horizon. One of the teams of the year has to be AGI Sport, who have made excellent progress on their competitive debuts. The squad is depleted for round 3 as 2 drivers have returned home, but Jack Beaton and Nicola Stati are determined to keep putting the Aussies on the scoreboard as often as possible. There have been tough times for RHGP at the start of the year, but alongside Lucas Amalisto, Enzo Ye and Raphael Narak, now emerges Red Bull's young Frenchman, Enzo Deligny. He's already been talking up the chances of podiums, so expect the Red Bull colours to launch RHGP up the table. Musical Chairs is XL Motorsport's favourite game these days, with the team shuffling its deck again. Alvis Rodella and Thiago Rodriguez are once again joined by Chu Yanpu of China, who arguably didn't really show his true potential last time out. His charge through the pack did give us a subtle hint though. Pinnacle managed to bank some points last time out with Kai Dadianani, but there could have been a lot more had misfortune not spoiled their fun. But the pace is there, and that's what counts. So there's a chance that both he and teammate Fu Yuhao can elevate the team even higher with a good performance. Whilst Formula 1 hasn't allowed an 11th team on the grid, F4 UAE has, with XGP making their debut this weekend. Liu Kaishun moves across from sister outfit XL, with UAE-based Luxembourger Chester Kiefer making his debut. Both drivers can have it tough to mix it at the front, but never say never. Musical Chairs is a game often played in F4 UAE, and we have a new member of the paddock for the remainder of the season, the young Red Bull driver and Race GP star Enzo Deligny. Enzo, good to see you here in F4 UAE. How are you finding it so far?
Good to see you too, Jake. I'm finding it really well so far. We've just done 1 session, but the paces look quite good so far, and the track is really fun to drive. So yeah, just really looking forward to bringing some good results and having fun.
Now, from your days at Paralin in karting to come straight up to here in the Red Bull Junior program, it's been a complete change of lifestyle for you, complete change of pace. How are you adapting so far?
Yeah, it's been quite intense. Red Bull Junior team is one of the highest junior academies that you can get into, but they also you need to deliver results. So it's not easy, but I'm certainly happy to be a part of that.
One thing I notice about your character, though, it hasn't changed a lot from Red Bull. You still have your sidekick, your partner in crime, two-time world champion in karting, Lorenzo Travasanuto, with you. Just how important is that relationship continuing to evolve as you continue to grow through the world of car racing?
Yeah, you know, me and my coach Lorenzo, we're really close. You know, we stuck together since like four years now, since I came to karting in Europe. And yeah, he really helps me a lot, you know, on track, but also off track. You know, everything that you really need to know in motorsport, you know, so yeah, it's really helpful.
So first impressions, obviously you've not had a lot of running yet in the F4 car on the circuit, but it's a very, very exciting racetrack, lots of elevation changes. Drivers have nicknamed this place the roller coaster in the past. How do you find it?
Yeah, I find it really fun to drive. It's pretty long with a lot of corners. Yeah, a couple corners are really just have a lot of elevation change. But yeah, it looks to be good for racing. You know, the hairpin at the back after the long straight. So yeah, it looks like it's going to be a fun one to race on.
Now, there's always an unfortunate amount of pressure put upon a driver that dons the Red Bull overalls. How are you finding that elevation in pace? In karting, you could always do things pretty much at your own pace. Now, there's a lot of expectation. There's a lot of, I suppose, demanding promise, not just from you, but from the fans as well. How are you finding that?
You know, it's not always easy. You know, you have to deliver the results for the team, for the academy. But you know, I'm confident in myself. I'm confident in the team. You know, with my team around me, the people who helped me. So you know, I'm just trying to deliver the results for them.
And it's still very early days, of course, with the Race GP squad, but you seem to have fit in quite well. There's already seeming to be quite a good working relationship with you and the engineers. How's that going?
Yeah, it's going really well. You know, I'm fitting in well with the team. I'm getting along, getting to know my new engineer and my mechanics and everything. But yeah, I'm really happy with the team.
You've been racing recently in the United States, of course. That's kind of where it all started for you in a way. So to come back to Europe and then over here to the Middle East, I mean, you kind of travel a lot. It's very much part and parcel for Enzo Deligny. So how are you finding the UAE?
Yeah, it's first time in the UAE for me. It's quite different, you know, but it's nice to see a different culture, country, and everything. But yeah, it's exciting, definitely.
And obviously coming into the championship mid-season, you know, you're 6 races behind everybody else, but there's always a bit of an added pressure of a rookie coming in and delivering. What expectations have you put on yourself in terms of the remaining races? What do you think you would like to deliver?
I'd definitely like to deliver, you know, some podiums for the team, be fighting at the front, and just yeah, do the best I can. But certainly, I'll be looking to be fighting at the front.
We're very excited to see if that's going to be a possibility. We wish you all the best, Enzo. Hope it's going to happen for you. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
It's time once again to get the ball rolling as we prepare for the second race of the weekend in the F4 United Arab Emirates Championship, certified by the FIA. We had a thrilling race earlier today that was taken in fine style by Nikita Bedrin in front of Kian Nakamura Berta, who also won the Rookie Cup, and Dion Gouda. Great to see him take his first podium of the season. Now it's reverse grid time. All bets are off, and it's going to be an absolute blinder. Jake Sanson here with you once again in the commentary box, and boy oh boy is this going to be a challenge for all of the competitors in the top 6. A lot of opportunity and a lot of chances to let it slip. After the earlier threat of rain has now finally dissipated, the wind has come and blown the rain clouds away. So we should be in for a fabulous dry running in this second race of 3 of the weekend. And there's a lot of variables to come into this particular battle now for the championship. So we are very excited about this one. For those who watched the race earlier today and were expecting to see Enzo Deligny in pole position, well, there has been a slight change because one of the other drivers that finished in the top 12, Enzo Ye, was given a 10-second penalty at the end of his race. So he ended up being demoted all the way down to 23rd position. That's how tight it is in the F4 UAE Championship. 10 seconds can cost you a decent 10 places or so. There was another penalty actually handed out, and that was for the number 33 car. That was Max Popov. He was given a 5-second penalty for jumping the start. So he ended up falling down the order as well.
But interestingly, Nikita Bedrin was able to hang on to his race victory in front of Kian Nakamura Berta and Dion Gauda, then Freddie Slater. Keanu Alazari in 5th position ahead of Jack Beaton. Dorian Pan, who was the second best rookie, in front of Thiago Rodriguez. Gabriel Stilp, and the man who charged through from the back of the grid to steal a point, Alex Powell. He actually managed to come home in 10th position, and that was worthy of a championship point. Enzo Deligny in 11th place, and the man promoted to 12th, and therefore the reverse grid pole for this race is the Italian driver Alvise Rodella of the XL Motorsport team. So he is the man who gets to start this race from pole position, and that is certainly not where he was expecting to be in a fantastic situation from the front end of the grid. But that just means he's going to have an awful amount of pressure going into the first race. It's going to be really interesting to see how it all pales out. Great to have your comments and your chat with you once again. If you are watching via the Formula 4 UAE Championship YouTube channel, you can send comments and messages. I'll try and stay with them over the course of the race, but it's not actually easy to do when you've got so much to work on. But hello to those of you who are watching via Motorsport TV, and also for those of you who are watching on the Facebook page as well. Great to have your company wherever you're watching from. I know that we've got viewers all over the place who are tuning in from over in the United Kingdom, across Europe, in Italy, in France, in Spain. We've got people watching all the way out in Australia, cheering on for the likes of Jack Beaton, Kamal Murad and Nicolas Stati. We've also got incredible fans out in North America who have got up very early indeed to watch the racing, certainly for the likes of Colombian Max Restrepo, and everybody out in Jamaica who is keeping an eye on Alex Powell, and of course everybody in his home city of Miami in Florida as well. Great to have your company once again. I'm sure that everybody over in Macau is also rooting for their young man Thiago Rodriguez, who's had a fantastic start to his weekend, bagging home an 8th position finish. The Chinese F4 champion doing a terrific job. And it's going to be a really exciting situation for all of the contenders out there on the course. So there's a lot to talk about. There is a few drivers that are obviously going to be having to charge their way through from the back of the grid after the race one shenanigans, namely Deegan Fairclough, Rashid Al-Dahaeri and Matteo Quintarelli. They're all going to be starting this race from the back of the grid, unfortunately, after problems that occurred. We don't actually know the reason yet for Rashid Al-Dahaeri's mechanical problem that caused that massive pile-up. The 5-minute board goes out, so you can see that we've still got a little bit of interesting banter to discuss. Hello to everybody. If you have any particular questions heading into race 2, do let me know if you're on the YouTube feed, and I will do my very best to answer them. If I can't answer them, well, I'll look like a right Wally. But hello to Stephen Gunter, who is watching all the way from Kingston in Jamaica. Oh, fabulous. And it's great to see how our young man has got his own very cool runnings out there on the course. He has managed to work himself up from 33rd on the starting grid in race 1 all the way through to 10th. That is an amazing performance from a man who, don't forget, is only in his 3rd race weekend out in the Middle East. So has done an absolutely terrific job and is definitely a major talent for the future. He's part of the Mercedes F1 Junior driver fold, and I couldn't help but joke with him that, you know what, you've got a seat that you could potentially bid for in 2025 if you keep going. I think it's a little bit early for him to be talking about that currently in F4, but hey, it's something for these youngsters to get excited about when the driver market starts moving in Grand Prix and you're in a Formula 1 Junior team. Well, even your own ears start to open up a little bit more. How am I doing, asked Garlic Bread Games. I'm absolutely marvellous, I have to say. After the races we had this morning, we only had one safety car interruption at the beginning of the F4 UAE race when we had a bit of a problem off the line for Rashid Al-Dahaeri. Poor Deegan Fairclough had no chance to get out of his way and went straight into the back of the Yas Heat-coloured Prema Racing car. And unfortunately, poor Matteo Quintarelli had nowhere to go. Other than that, it was a pretty darn good start to the day, particularly in the Formula Regional Middle East race where we had a green to checkered race with no interruptions, an amazing battle between Taylor Barnard and Tuukka Tapanen, and we're going to see hopefully another one later on in the day from them. But it's a reverse grid race. The top 12 finishers from race 1 now have the grid reversed. So let's talk you through who's who. There is a Red Bull car on the front row of the grid. You'll be delighted to hear if you're a Red Bull fan. It's Enzo Deligny, the Frenchman, who is only competing in his 2nd ever F4 UAE race, and he gets to go from the front row of the starting grid, so that's pretty exciting. Alongside pole setter Alvise Rodella, who came home 12th in the earlier race, and he gets the pole position. Third on the grid is Alex Powell, the young man who was known in his karting days as the Jamaican sensation. I have a feeling he's going to have a few more nicknames the way things continue on, but the young man from Miami doing a great job in third position on the starting grid for this one, alongside the Gilles Villeneuve of karting, and very quickly the Gilles Villeneuve of F4, Gabriel Stilp, putting in some sensational moves and finds himself in fourth on the starting grid for this one. Thiago Rodriguez, the reigning Chinese F4 champion, lining up in fifth position on the starting grid. He's going to be a really exciting competitor in this one. I've got a feeling he could even go for the podium here. He's a very talented young man, is Thiago Rodriguez, very underrated, and he's certainly putting on some stars and stripes here in this particular race. Alongside him on the grid, though, is the feisty female racer Dorian Payne. Dorian Payne, I should say, my apologies. Prema Racing's fantastic young driver who's just been announced as the Mercedes F1 Junior, representing them in the F1 Academy this year. So Dorian Payne definitely going to be keeping an eye on things, and interestingly, she's been taking quite an interest in the Asian Le Mans Series activities in between, because of course when she's not in single-seaters, she is in GTs and prototypes. How about that? That's synchronized blinking from our 33 cars. That looks straight out of a disco. Loving it. Jack Beaton, 7th on the starting grid from Australia, looking very good indeed from the 4th row of the starting grid. He put on a great show in the earlier race, to be fair, right up in the top 6. So he's going to be very exciting to keep an eye on. Keanu Elizalde, he is the leading driver of the championship contenders in this race. He lines up 8th on the grid for this one, which is pretty much where he started race 1 from. So he's basically going to be faced with a similar challenge. 9th on the grid is the championship leader, Freddie Slater, who came home 4th in race 1. And bless him, his dad Adrian came and said to me, I thought you were going to jinx us earlier when you were talking about how he's never finished outside the top 4. And I went, no, he managed to do it again in race 1. Don't worry. 9th position on the grid. Third on the grid for the earlier race, and then converting it into a podium. Dion Gauda now starts 10th on the grid for this one. Kia Nakamura Berta 11th on the grid. Nikita Bedrin, the race 1 winner, in 12th. And then we have Rafael Narak alongside Kamal Murad of Australia, Chester Kiefer and Yvan David. We'll go through the rest of the grid as they are on the formation lap. What's the weather like over there? Well, it's pretty bright, actually. I thought it was going to have a bit of a rain shower earlier on, but fortunately it's all gone. And it looks as though we're going to have nothing but bright, sunny skies. So very good indeed to see, and that's exactly what we are going to continue with. So, fantastic one. A couple of people have been having an exciting morning. Morning from Ireland, says Elizabeth Dunn, and we wish Alex all the very best for his upcoming motor racing campaign. We can't wait to find out where he's going to be. Bless him, garlic bread missed the first race because he was having a haircut. I hope it was worth it. Was it a good one? We'll find out, I'm sure. There goes Albies Rodella, getting himself into the mode for pole position. Big shoulders now for Albies Rodella. He's got to try and get himself into an exciting move into the first corner, in the hope that he can go into the first corner in front of Enzo Deligny and Alex Powell. So let's go through the grid in full. Albies Rodella and Enzo Deligny on the front row of the grid, then Alex Powell and Gabriel Stilp on the second, Thiago Rodriguez and Dorian Payne on the third row of the grid, then Jack Beaton and Keanu Elizalde. Then it is Freddie Slater and Dion Gauda that round out the top 10. Then it is Kia Nakamura Berta alongside Nikita Bedrin. Rafael Narak is beside Kamal Murad. Chester Kiefer and Yvan David. Jules Caranta, who has moved across to the Santalog team for the second half of the season, alongside Razor Suwerthen. And then Nicholas Stati alongside Luca Samalisto. And then we have Chu Yanpu, the Chinese driver, alongside Liu Kai-shun. And then Enzo Ye is beside Max Popov. Maximiliano Restrepo, the Colombian, alongside the American driver Everett Stack. And then we have the two Pinnacle teammates, Kai Dadianani and Fu Yuhao, and then Zach Scholar, who had a last lap puncture that cost him all chance of a decent finish in either race 1 or probably this one as well. He's really going to have to work hard, as there you go, the next generation of top talented racer watches on and hopes that one day he'll be joining them. Sebastian Murray lining up 30th on the starting grid, and then Deegan Fairclough 31st on the grid after his race 1 exit. Rashid Al-Daheri and Matteo Quintarelli are down there at the back as well, and they've got a lot of work to do. Jack Monaghan writes, Adrian Slater's got a busy year with Freddie doing F4 and Alfie Slater doing Ginetta Juniors. Yes, indeed he has. He was telling me about it over lunch a little earlier on, and it's all looking very exciting indeed. And I'm sure we're going to have some really action-packed performances from the two drivers in very different paddocks over the course of the year, but the Slater name is definitely still going to be fighting for all sorts of exciting races on the horizon. Back to this one, and Freddie Slater is definitely going to be challenging to try and get himself back into the top 4. He's never been outside the top 4 over the course of these first few races. 7 races out of 7, and he's holding a very decent position and a good advantage. at the position he currently stands. We're getting ourselves into position, ready for the start. The driver's just weaving from side to side. They do that to generate some heat into the tyres and the brakes. And that is obviously to make sure that when you get into the first corner first, you can hit the brake pedal at full chat with adrenaline pumping through your veins, and you know that the car is going to give you the grip you need when you get through that first corner. You need to make sure you do that. You've got to have faith in the car that is going to be particularly strong. So let's see how we are going to get underway for this one. Alves Rodella has a massive amount of pressure. Let's not underrate it. He's really going to find it tough to hold off the likes of Enzo Deligny, Alex Powell, Gabriel Stilp. They all have really good race acumen. That's not to say that Alves Rodella doesn't. He has very good pedigree. He's had a very strong run, particularly in his native Italy, where he was a very strong karter back in the day. But now he finds himself in the toughest situation that he has ever found himself. Pole position on the Dubai Autodrome, a tough circuit in a tough field. It is really going to be a nail-biting scenario for Alves Rodella. He could well be right down to the stubs if he's not careful. So, to the positions on the starting grid come Alves Rodella and Enzo Deligny, only his second ever F4 UAE race. Certainly not his second ever F4 race. He competed in the Spanish Championship last season and did a fair job fighting for the title, but of course that eventually went the way of Théophile Nail, who of course you'll see a little later on today in the Formula Regional Middle East race. And he will be starting that, as far as I'm aware, from pole position. So here comes the tail end of the field. There's a lot of fast drivers at the back after their race one exits. So keep an eye on that. There's going to be a few drivers charging through from the back. The likes of Zach Scholar, the likes of Sebastian Murray, Deegan Fairclough, Rashid Al-Daheri, and that man, Matteo Quintarelli. They're all going to want to charge their way through. Keep an eye as well on the man in 21st on the grid, Chu Yan Pu. He is the Mercedes junior youngster. He's not really had the opportunity to shine yet, but having seen him in his karting days, the kid definitely has pedigree and a lot of pace. So if he gets an opportunity, he's definitely going to work his way forward. This is usually where drama is never far away. The reverse grid race in F4 UAE. Race 2 of round 3 on the Dubai Autodrome 2024 F4 UAE. Lights are coming on. When they go out, we'll be racing in F4 for the second time today in Dubai. Let's get it on! And it's a terrible start for Rodella. He doesn't move at all. Alves Rodella does not move from pole. He stalled it. So Deligny straight through to the lead in front of Gabriel Stilp and Alex Powell. Stilp is already going to try and make his bid to get through on Enzo Deligny. Can he come around the far side in the high-tech Pulsate car? He's going to try and commit, but Deligny holds it from Stilp. And there's going to be a bit of a pressure as Thiago Rodriguez tries to take on Alex Powell. And there's contact further back. Two cars have come together. It's Deegan Fairclough tangling with, I think, Liu Kai-shun. So problems for Fairclough for the second race in a row as the leaders work their way through on the first lap. Out in front, no problems at all for our pole sitter, who problems further back. And there's contact. That is the 70 of Kamal Murad. Looks like he's actually tangled with his own teammate. It couldn't really be any more embarrassing. So big issues there, but poor Alves Rodella, the pole sitter, not able to get off the line. It's Enzo Deligny who leads from Gabriel Stilp, and Alex Powell has managed to fight his way back into third position in fourth. That's Keanu Al-Azadi. Great start from the boy from Dubai. So Al-Azadi now up into P4 as the drivers try and work their way down the back straight. Who else has made good moves? Well, Enzo Deligny being ultra defensive in front of Stilp. Stilp is the kind of driver who will just go hungry and go for it. He is going to go for it. Up alongside Enzo Deligny. He's going to try for the lead on the opening lap. They're both going to drift wide. Here comes Powell. Powell's going to make his bid around the outside of Gabriel Stilp. Then he'll try and go slow in, fast out, but he's got to be careful not to open the door for Keanu Al-Azadi, who's already in the battle. Thiago Rodriguez there in fifth position, looking pretty hungry as well. The drivers working their way forward. Down to the braking zone. Alex Powell's going to go right. Stilp's going to come in and go left on the inside. They're both going to drift wide. Alex Powell's going to take the lead as Deligny drifts wide. Alex Powell from Miami hits the front as poor Enzo Deligny drifts out wide. He's got a problem. The car's got a puncture. Enzo Deligny's out of this one. Diving up the inside. That looks like Rodriguez having a go onto the inside line to try and make the overtaking move. So Enzo Deligny is gone as well. First Rodella, then Deligny, and in the lead of the race now, it's Alex Powell. He leads from Stilp and Rodriguez. So Thiago Rodriguez trying to keep back Keanu Al-Azadi. Al-Azari's going to make his bid on the inside. Don't tell me he's going to take them both. He does. Keanu Al-Azari goes from fourth to second. Magnificent. Keanu Al-Azari, the title contender, has charged his way through from 8th on the grid to 2nd in a little over a lap. Keanu Al-Azari, superb. Now here comes Jack Beaton. He's going to get alongside Thiago Rodriguez. That's going to be enough for Beaton to get through. The Aussie absolutely storms it. Wonderful move from Jack Beaton. That puts him up into P4. And here comes Dorian Pan. Pan is going to make her bid on the inside now of Thiago Rodriguez. Rodriguez goes deep, tries to shut the door on the Prema, but Dorian Pan is not going to be pushed around. She finds an opportunity, gets back into the slipstream. Surely she's going to have good momentum off the left-hand hairpin previously. Down to the right-hander, down the braking zone. Dorian Pan will commit to the overtake. Thiago Rodriguez is going to try and hold her back. Moving across and across, and Beaton goes for Stelp. Beaton gets the move. Dorian Pan could get Rodriguez on the exit. There's somebody's wing in the middle of the road. So that's not gone well, and Beaton is not quite able to finish the job on Stelp. As into the pits has come Kamal Murad. It might well be his front wing that has been replaced. Dorian Pan dives in on Rodriguez into the right-hander. Merci beaucoup, I'm going to take the move. Excellently done for Dorian Pan, and that puts her in a 5th position. Watch out, because here come the Mumbai Falcons now behind Thiago Rodriguez. Meanwhile, Beaton is going to try and take on Gabriel Stelp for a 2nd time. He goes right, now dives in for the inside. Beaton absolutely furiously trying to make these bids now on Stelp as Rodriguez comes back in on Dorian Pan and gets the move. Nice move from Rodriguez. Freddie Slater goes in as well. Slater gets past Pan, and now he's trying to pull across and across on his teammate. Goodness me. Feisty between Slater and Nakamura Berta. Those two are not good friends. And I tell you what, the teammates very nearly came to blows as Slater did everything in his power to keep Kian Nakamura Berta behind him. And that's problems for Stelp. Stelp's got a damaged front wing. So now Jack Beaton's going to slam dunk on the inside. Thank you very much. Stelp is still trying to hang on to it. And he ends up going wide. So surely Stelp's going to have to surrender that. He doesn't. So Stelp hangs on to 3rd position in front of Jack Beaton. Then comes Thiago Rodriguez, then Freddie Slater, now in P6 in front of Dorian Pan, Kian Nakamura Berta. Dion Gowder, I think, has actually managed to get through now on Nakamura Berta. He slipped to 9th and 10th position. That looks like Reza Sawurthan. So Reza Sawurthan's done a terrific job on these first couple of laps. Finds himself now in 10th position behind Gowder and Nakamura Berta. Brilliant start from the boy from Bournemouth. Big run wide from Gabriel Stelp. That's all the ammunition Jack Beaton needs as Alex Powell leads Keanu Al-Azari. Stelp's got a damaged front wing. Here comes Beaton. Here comes Rodriguez. Surely Stelp is not going to have any answer for Beaton or for Thiago Rodriguez either. Rodriguez is going to turn this into a move for 3rd, and he's got him. Beaton's going to try and run right round the outside. He'll drift off onto the curb. What is happening in F4 UAE? Brilliant racing. Now Stelp's going to have a go at Rodriguez. He can't make it work. Beaton is going to try and defend from Rodriguez. Here comes Slater on Gabriel Stelp. They're going to go side by side. Beaton's going to try and cover 3rd place. Stelp has a look at Rodriguez, wobbles the car. Slater's going to come up to his left-hand side, and Dorian Pan is going to go with him. They're almost going to bump draft their way past the high-tech Pulse 8. So Dorian Pan gets the move on Stelp. Seconds after Freddie Slater manages to get it done, and still Beaton and Rodriguez are side by side for 3rd. Beaton just about holds on to this. It's anyone's guess. Big tag slapper for Nakamura Berta. He gets essentially sliced out of the tussle, and that puts him a long way back. Dorian Pan locks up. Gowder protects. He's got Reza Sawurthan and Nikita Bedrin in the mix. Excellent racing. Where do you look? Do you look to the leaders? Do you look to the midfield? Do you look at 3rd place? It's an absolute hogwash at the moment. What a race. And it's only just started. Here comes Slater on the far side of Thiago Rodriguez. Rodriguez drifts. Careful, Freddie. Freddie's going to drift onto the curbs. Dorian Pan's going to go out wide. And that's Rashid Al-Daheri. Where did he come from? Absolutely amazing comeback from Rashid Al-Daheri, who, don't forget, started all the way down in 32nd. He is now in 14th place. How has he done that? I tell you what, that is absolutely extraordinary from Rashid Al-Daheri. Clearly, he put on his big boy shoes and he has absolutely stormed his way through the field like a cat in a wet paper bag. Charges his way through. Absolutely magnificent. So out in the lead of the race Is that a lead change, or is that somebody slow? Oh no, this is still the battle for third. The two leaders have gone well clear. That's why we're confused. So here comes Dion Gouda going wheel to wheel with Reza Suwerven. And Reza Suwerven's just about hanging on to his position for the moment. Up the inside, that's Kamal Murad, I think. No, sorry, that's going to be his teammate, isn't it? That's going to be Nikita Bedrin. So Bedrin still battling away, side by side. Suwerven going wheel to wheel with Jevan David. Here comes Jevan David getting himself into the mix. This is terrific from the boy from Sri Lanka. And still he fights on, side by side with Suwerven. Watch out, Jevan, you're going to get squeezed if you're not careful, but he goes to the middle. Reza Suwerven still trying to hold it to the inside. Jevan David's got traction on the far side, but he may get squeezed. Here comes Bedrin. Jevan David commits to the outside, holds off Bedrin. Pen has now got problems here. Here comes Rashid Al Daheri, her teammate, round the far side and takes the position. Brilliant from Rashid Al Daheri. Now he's going to take on Nikita Bedrin. This is wonderful racing from F4 UAE. Let's take a look at some of these battles again. Slater trying to go side by side with Rodriguez. Watch Dorian Pain as she bangs wheels with Gabriel Stilp. And look at Rashid Al Daheri. He takes the most amazing line to take on Rafael on the rack, and then he gets Kiya Nakamura Berta in the same breath. This is phenomenal. What a race this is turning into. And guess what? We're not even halfway through it yet. We've still got 19.5 minutes left. So many battles. Rashid Al Daheri has now caught right up to Nikita Bedrin. That's the race one winner, don't forget. Round the outside of him comes Kiya Nakamura Berta, though. Nakamura Berta wants to commit. Up in the air goes Bedrin. Nakamura Berta has to bail out on the move on Al Daheri. And here comes the move from one of the Race GP cars. Is that Samalisto going around the far side of Dorian Pain? I think it is. Lucas Samalisto's come back into this one, big style too. There are some amazing race drives going on here. So side by side, this is Gabriel Stilp, still with that drooping front wing, trying to hold off. Is that Slater? Well, that's David making his bid on the inside. It's actually Dion Gouda that he's trying to hold off as Jevan David gets his move on the inside of Reza Suwerven. So Jevan David moves his way now up into 8th position. This is a terrific race and a great drive from the Santalok man from Sri Lanka. Everybody back home in Colombo is going to be absolutely loving this. Here comes Rashid Al Daheri. He's only one place away from the points now. He's right in behind the race one winner, Nikita Bedrin. Side by side, Suwerven dueling with Nikita Bedrin. Good to see Suwerven really showing his flair now. Former Ginetta Junior driver, don't forget. And here he is in single-seaters, going wheel to wheel with Nikita Bedrin. That's an F3 driver you're warring with. And Suwerven is very much the equal. Here he comes. Chops across on Bedrin. Lovely from Suwerven. Now Bedrin's got to go very long on the brakes. Al Daheri's trying to cut round the outside of both of them. This just keeps getting better. Look at it down the main straight. David is squeezed to the wall by Stilp. Stilp is still trying to hang on. Al Daheri's trying to use the slipstream of Bedrin and Suwerven. Here comes Kiya Nakamura Berta. Big dive from Stilp, and that's where the win goes. And Suwerven's got nowhere to go but into the back of the avoiding pack. Both high-tech pulsates with damage. Oh, poor Reza Suwerven. Poor Gabriel Stilp. Both men are just going to plummet down the timesheets. You really got a feel for Suwerven. That was the best race of his season, and it's all clattered around him. Stilp is just tumbling down now. Samalisto has got a real turn of race, though, as a result of that. He's managed to dodge all of it, and now finds himself dueling with Dorian Pain. He can go the long way. There is Reza Suwerven pulling off. You've really got a feel for him. That is so unfortunate. Here's a replay. Look, Stilp just chops across. Bedrin is on the brakes, trying not to hit Jevan David, and poor Reza Suwerven cannot react in time. So disappointing for Reza Suwerven. That's PHM AIX front wing. Is that Bedrin's front wing, or is that somebody else's? Well, Reza Suwerven has pulled off the circuit and then got going again, so he's going to limp back to the pits, but so unfortunate for Reza Suwerven. He did such a good job. So Dorian Pain now all over the back of, is that Enzo Ye? I think it is. So Enzo Ye is now, having worked his way into a good position, now finds himself in a cluster of talented drivers. Ivan David trying desperately to keep one of the race GP. Gabriel still driving as if he's got a perfectly working race car. Never mind the fact that he's got a front wing underneath his wheel. I told you he was the Gilles Villeneuve of F4. He just doesn't know how to do anything other than flat out. So surely Gabriel Stilbe is going to come into the pits. He does indeed, but he's going to do it on his own terms, clearly. So Powell leads, Al-Azhari second, then it's Beaton, Slater, Rodriguez, Gouda. Then there's a long gap back now, but in seventh is Ivan David, and he's in front of Nikita Bedrin. Bedrin to the wall, barely on the circuit, but Bedrin commits. Ivan David's going to lock up, and there's problems. Not Ivan David as well. Oh, bitter disappointment for the Sri Lankan. He was on an absolute masterstroke, and now he's dropped all the way down. Whether there was something wrong with the car, whether he missed his braking point, whether he just locked up. Oh, such a shame. Ivan David was having a terrific run. This is how tough it is in F4 UAE, and there's big lockups coming. That's Dorian Pain locking up the Prema. So Bedrin is now seventh. Eighth is now... Is that Dorian Pain still? Or has she dropped back a little bit further? Now that's Kian Nakamura-Berta who's in eighth place. In ninth position, stop everything. Ninth place is Rashid Al-Daheri. That is extraordinary. And we're under safety car. Safety car boards are out. Safety car boards have come out. Well, I guess after all of that, it was almost inevitable. Oh, and that's why. That's gone terribly wrong. That's Fu Yuhao and Everett Stack, the American. Well, it was all too good to be true. We were having an incredible motor race, and unfortunately, all it takes is two cars to get just a little bit too close together, and then we got a safety car. But I tell you what, that was just about the most exciting 15 minutes I have ever seen in F4. That was an absolute classic up to that point. So now we're going to get a reset. Where is that? I think that's actually at the final corner. So yeah, it is just on the edge of the final corner. They've done that on the way past the Radisson Blue and onto the home straight. So actually, that might not take too long to recover. Yes, there are two cars in an awkward position, and both Fu Yuhao and Everett Stack have bailed out. But I'm not so sure that's going to take a long time to recover. Maybe about 4 minutes. So we could still get a decent sprint to the flag. So let's breathe, because we haven't had a time to do that yet. Let's take stock of the situation. And let's see what's what. Alex Powell is your leader and doing a fabulous job with it. Keanu Al-Azhari is now in second, and thanks to the safety car, he'll be right on his rear wing. Jack Beaton, what a drive from the Australian. He is in third position now, full of the joys of spring. Freddie Slater is in P4, so yet again, no lower than fourth. He is on the way to the title, the way this keeps going. Fifth position is Thiago Rodriguez, and I'm really delighted that he is in the top five, because he deserves to be. He's worked very hard. As into the pits comes Ivan David. Bitter disappointment. So something's not gone well. And parking the car also, that's Zach Scholar. So unfortunately, Zach Scholar seems to have retired from the race, joining the likes of Deegan Fairclough and Enzo Deligny. Now, what's happened to Alves Rodella? He has recovered from his pole position slump and is now in 25th. So we'll talk you through that in a little bit. So we had Powell Al-Azhari, Beaton, Slater, Rodriguez, and then Dion Gouda, P6 in the Mumbai Falcon, the true Indian within the Mumbai Falcon's F4 operation. Nikita Bedrin in 7th place, so he's there or thereabouts. Then it is Kian Nakamura-Berta in 8th position, so points on the way for him. 9th position, though. Drive of the race. I'm sorry, you're not going to win this argument if you try and have it with me. Drive of the race has got to be Rashid Al-Daheri. Started 32nd on the grid and now is in 9th. That is absolutely absurd. And it just shows you how talented the Emirati Rashid Al-Daheri really is, as there are Fu Yuhao and Everett Stack walking away, chatting to the marshals. Very unfortunate, and that's the incident that's brought out the safety car. But yeah, Rashid Al-Daheri from 32nd to 9th in the space of 15 minutes. Everybody back home in Abu Dhabi down the road is going to be absolutely euphoric. That is one heck of a drive from Rashid Al-Daheri, and hopefully he's just going to keep going with points on the march. Another brilliant drive, though, and you have to say it, is from the Finn, Luca Samalisto. He went from 20th on the grid to currently in 10th. So very good work from him. Also from Enzo Deligny, 23rd on the grid after a 10-second penalty in race 1. And he's now in 11th position ahead of Dorian Pain. Now that is Chester Kiefer who's coming to the pits, I noticed. So Chester Kiefer's coming to the pits. So too has Razor Suerthan. Very unfortunate for the Bournemouth youngster. I really thought he was going to get into the top 5 at one stage. It was looking really racy. But that doesn't mean he can't do it tomorrow with moves like that. Behind the man in... behind Enzo Deligny, we mentioned, is Dorian Pain. 13th is Raphael Narak in front of Jules Caranta. Another strong race for him as he makes decent progress. He started 17th and is up to 14th. Then Shuyan Pu. Keep an eye. I did tell you, didn't I? Keep an eye on this boy. The Chinese driver has come up from 21st to 15th. So he's definitely making some waves. He's made up 6 places already. Matteo Quintarelli from dead last, 33rd on the grid, is now 16th. So he's done very well. 17th place for Nicola Stati, the Australian. He's making good progress as well. Sebastian Murray up from what was 30th on the grid and is now 18th. So excellent work from the young Scot. Sebastian Murray doing a fair job. And then Maxi Restrepo, the Colombian, who is in front of Kai Dadianani, another driver who's just been charging his way through. Then we have Liu Kai-shun, and then we have the drivers who have had difficulties. Ivan David has come into the pits and rejoined, I do believe, in 22nd. Gabriel Stilp has been in, changed the front wing, and rejoined at the back of the pack, or will rejoin at the back of the pack in 23rd position. Is that more damage for an AGI? I think that's Nicola Stati with a damaged front wing. That's so disappointing. So now Nicola Stati with a damaged front wing. And he's done a fantastic job this weekend, so much stronger than he did last time out. Let's have a look at the start. Alves Rodella doesn't move. So Alex Powell is very lucky to get off the line at all there. He almost collects Alves Rodella, slots in behind Gabriel Stilp. Watch Enzo Deligny on the left and Stilp on the right. Watch them as they go to the first corner. Stilp is adamant he's going to beat Deligny to the turn. They both twitch, they both wobble, so Deligny gets there first. And then that was assertive from Alex Powell to force the move on Rodriguez. Then we have the problems for Fairclough, tangling in there with Liu Kai-shun, and one of the PHM AX cars is in there, and that's a real problem for another PHM AX car. That's Kamal Murad, who ended up tangling on the first lap, and that was, I think, Zach Scholar going with him. Now here's the move from Jack Beaton, diving in on the inside. Just check out this racecraft from F4 UAE. So many bold moves. And that wing obviously still there from Kamal Murad in the middle of the road. This got feisty. Dorian Pain going wheel to wheel with Stilp. That's Nakamura Berta getting spat out by running over the curb. And despite all of that, he's still in 8th place, which is very impressive indeed. That twitch from Rodriguez almost took Freddie Slater off the road. Dorian Pain got squeezed by Stilp. And Rashid Al-Daheri, look at that move. Just astonishing in there with Nakamura Berta. There's the moment that took out Stilp and Suerthan. Suerthan with big damage. Just running over the rear wheel of Nikita Bedrin's car, just didn't have time to react. So Suerthan, I'm not sure whether he's still going or not, or whether he's actually parked the car. I think he's actually managed to get going again. And then we had this, Ivan David. Look at Nikita Bedrin, he's determined. He goes onto the sand on the red rumble strip to get the move there on Ivan David. And David, for some reason, the car just locks up and goes straight on. Didn't really see what that was. Maybe a slow puncture? Not entirely sure what that was for Ivan David. And then, of course, the incident that's brought out the safety car. Fu Yuhao and Everett Stack just getting too close together. Madness. Absolute madness. If this race could be a song by Madness, it'd probably be Baggy Trousers. It's been so wild. But what a fabulous race it's been up to this point, as the recovery crews are now hard at work, removing Fu Yuhao and Everett Stack's car from the scene. But what an absolutely terrific race this has been so far. Even the wildlife are enjoying it. So Everett Stack's PHM AIX car is removed, and you can see, oh dear, you started to peel away the flesh of the car there. So it's been rather awkward, the damage on that particular part of the car. That's going to be a long night for the mechanics. So I think we're going to have one more lap under safety car, and then we can go racing again. So very exciting restart coming, because Chiano Malazzari is going to be all over the back of Alex Powell. Two drivers that know each other from karting. There is Nicola Stati's car, and you can see that the left side of the car, the wing, is dragging on the floor, so he's got problems coming, but he thinks he can stay out there with it. So, okay, I suppose you don't have a massive amount of downforce to play with, but this is a very interesting situation. And We've still got about 5 minutes of racing to come, I think. But, well, it just shows you the drama and the adrenaline that's running through the veins of these F4 drivers. There's always something about a reverse grid race. It just throws an unknown or two or three into the mix. So we're going to see some really exciting battle. There is the Ivan David fan club. The family has actually moved out to the United Arab Emirates of late, based originally in Colombo in Sri Lanka, but to be closer to the European world of racing. The family have now since moved out to the United Arab Emirates. They live here in Dubai. And so obviously the entire fan club can be here on this particular occasion. Great to see so many fabulous drivers getting themselves together. So the cars just getting themselves into position and in the fabulous run. And it looks as though they are going to go racing this time. Alex Powell in front of Keanu Al-Azadi, Jack Beaton and Freddie Slater. So I think we are going to go racing on this particular occasion. So the racers are getting ready for an exciting restart. They're backing up the pack. Safety car is in at the end of this lap. So now it's all down to the young man from Miami. They used to call him the Jamaican sensation. Alex Powell, ready to back up the pack. The Mercedes F1 Junior on the verge of potentially winning his first F4 UAE race. And after all the bad luck he suffered in qualifying, we all knew he was one of the stars in karting. He had a lot of bad luck there as well. Could have been European and world champion a couple of times over. But now he's got the chance to put on a show, and he's done a perfect restart ahead of Keanu Al-Azadi. Timed it to perfection. And it looks as though Jack Beaton's gone with them. Lock up from Alex, careful, careful, don't ruin the tyres. You've still got 5 minutes of racing to get out of them. And it's green, 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 green here at Dubai. Powell leads, Al-Daheri in second, third is Beaton. And straight out of the draft comes one of the high-techs getting out of the way. I think that's Swerven being lapped as Rodriguez gets the run on Slater. Freddie Slater's going to have to work here to get past Thiago Rodriguez round the outside. And he's got him, but he's on the curb. Oh, and up in the air goes Slater. They both go wide. Slater rejoins. Rodriguez has lost 3 positions as a result of that. But somehow Slater has held on to 4th position in front of Dion Gauda. Then Bedrin, then Nakamura Berta, then Rashid Al-Daheri, who cuts in front of Rodriguez, then locks up. Rodriguez coming back in on him. And still they battle away. Rodriguez and Al-Daheri first raced each other on the Macau streets a couple of months ago. But this time Rashid Al-Daheri has the move done on the Chinese F4 champion in 2023. So the top 3 getting away. Powell trying to shake the toe of Al-Daheri, Beaton with them. Then it's Slater, then it's Gauda. Bedrin, and here comes Nakamura Berta, wheel to wheel with Nikita Bedrin. It's a good run off the turn for Kia Nakamura Berta. Will he dive? Of course he will. Dives to the inside of Nikita Bedrin, goes long on the brakes, gets the move. Now Rashid Al-Daheri's got to try. Oh, spinner. Rafael Narak's gone around, and it's caused pandemonium. Rafael Narak in the middle of the road. Can he get going again? Meanwhile, Bedrin still tuning away with Nakamura Berta, and there is Rashid Al-Daheri still side by side with Rodriguez. Bedrin's going to have the run, and watch off the turn. We've got Lucas Amalisto and Enzo Ye in the 2 race GP cars, now joining the squabble. Bedrin still hanging on from Nakamura Berta. On the far side, Bedrin trying to squeeze Nakamura Berta. He locks up the tyres. And this is the battle for 6th position, don't forget. Still some valuable points on offer. As Thiago Rodriguez loses out to the Finn, Lucas Amalisto. So Samalisto gets the run. Here's the move from Nakamura Berta. Dives in on Bedrin. Surely he can finish this off. Nikita Bedrin still going to commit. Goes wide. Comes back on. They're going to be side by side. So Powell, Al-Azadi, and then Beaton. And then side by side, we've got Slater ahead of Gauda, but side by side down the straight, we've got Nakamura Berta again committing on Bedrin. Now he's going to go the long way round. Bedrin's going to shut him down. Here comes Rashid Al-Daheri in 8th position. Meanwhile, Rodriguez is going to lose out to Enzo Ye. And here comes Dorian Bain. She wants a point. Here Nakamura Berta still hungry behind Nikita Bedrin. Rashid Al-Daheri's got to keep his wits about him here. And there's a spinner at turn 1. It's Maxi Restrepo. Restrepo has spun the car at turn 1 and got it going again. So the Colombian having a moment there at turn 1. But still they duel away. And there's damage for his car. So he's going to be limping back to the pits, Restrepo, to repair the front wing. So out in front, Powell, Al-Daheri. Oh, sorry, Al-Daheri is trying to work his way through in the middle of this pack. It's Al-Azadi who's in second place behind Alex Powell. So Alex Powell, Keanu Al-Azadi and Jack Beaton. That's your podium at the moment. This is great news for Keanu Al-Azadi because of the championship contenders. He's the one who's going to score big on this occasion. Freddie Slater is going to be fourth, but Al-Azadi is set to make up 6 points of deficit in this race. Further down the order, we've got Nicolas Starty trying his best to defend valiantly from both the PHM AAX cars of Max Popov and Kamal Murad. The teammates are going to go side by side. Careful, boys. You don't want to have that argument with Mikael Aloshin later. Down to the inside line, and watch for Liu Kai-shun round the far side. Liu Kai-shun wants to take on both of them, and the young man from Hong Kong thinks he's got a chance. They're side by side again. Here comes Liu Kai-shun in behind, and watch out for the man in behind them. That is Kai Daryanani, having had a couple of problems out there. And now diving up the inside, trying to keep Liu Kai-shun at bay. Liu Kai-shun still commits. Nice underlap, that's brilliant. So he's managed to get himself back into the position, but they're still squabbling away. And now here comes Kai Daryanani, wanting a move or two into the final turn. And down the home stretch again they will go. But Liu Kai-shun has defended valiantly enough to hold it. And there is Rashid Al-Daheri trying to shake off the Race GP car into the first corner. So that is Lucas Amalisto taking on Rashid Al-Daheri, who finds himself in 8th place, still on course for points from 32nd on the grid. Lock up there for Max Popov, but he hangs on in front of Liu Kai-shun. As Maxi Restrepo, by the way, has come into the pits to, I think, retire from this race. But we are now beyond the 28 minutes. So this is the penultimate lap. We've only just run out of time. So Alex Powell is going to continue trying to get away from Keanu Al-Azadi as Bedrin runs wide in his battle with Keanu Nakamura-Berta in the background. Nakamura-Berta with a chance here to go for Bedrin, but Keanu Al-Azadi has not given up on the win. Little lock-up, that shouldn't do too much in terms of difficulties. And I can tell you that Reza Sarwerthan is on the circuit, having had problems earlier on. He's rejoined a lap down, but he is still going. I mean, from his point of view, you never know what's going to happen. So why not? I can tell you that both Rafael Narak and Xu Yanpu have joined the retirements list, which includes Chester Kiefer, Fuyu Hao, Everett Stack, Zach Scholar, Enzo Deligny and Deegan Fairclough. So down to the hairpin. Full credit to Jack Beaton. He has quietly got on with this. And it's not like he's gone from reverse grid pole to drop to 3rd position. This time he's really had to fight for it. He was in 7th on the grid and he's now in 3rd. So Jack Beaton driving even better than he did in Yas Marina a few weeks ago. And Alex Powell still in front of Keanu Al-Azadi and Jack Beaton as they come onto the final lap. It looks like it's going to be an American, the young man from Dubai, and the Australian. And is that job done? Is the checkered flag out? My apologies, it is. Checkered flag is out. So Alex Powell has done it. Alex Powell takes the victory in front of Keanu Al-Azadi and Jack Beaton. Superb stuff. So it looks like they had just gone over the timing beacon with a couple of seconds to spare then. But Alex Powell takes the victory here in Dubai. Excellent performance from the young man from Miami. 32nd on the grid in race 1, charged through to P10. And what a result that is for him to go from 3rd on the grid to take the victory. Alex Powell in fine form. And finally, he gets his first win. Everybody enjoying themselves out on the sidelines there, but Alex Powell is your race winner, the newest F4 UAE winner of 2024. And I promise you, folks, that is going to be the first win of many in Alex Powell's car racing career. He's just going to keep going. Now that the floodgates have opened, you're going to see many, many more from the young man from Miami. There's the championship leader, Freddie Slater. He comes home in 4th place yet again. Still hasn't finished the race outside the top 4. So many star drives. Alex Powell doing an amazing job to win. Keanu Al-Azadi, what a drive to 2nd place. Superb effort. And that really keeps him in the fight for the championship. He'll gain 6 points now on Freddie Slater. Jack Beaton. Wham, bam, thank you and good night. A very deserving podium finish for him. Very impressive stuff 4th place for Slater. Dion Gowder in P5. Nikita Bedrin wrestling to P6. Kia Nakamura Berta ends up P7. Rashid Alderheri, 32nd on the grid to 8th place. And without the safety car, he might have gone even further. 9th position for Lucas Abalisto. The final point goes the way of Enzo Ye, ahead of Thiago Rodriguez, cruelly robbed of points. And then Jules Caranta, Dorian Pain, also robbed of points, in my opinion. Sebastian Murray, Matteo Quintarelli from dead last to 15th. Ivan David could have had a lot more as well. And then Alvis Rodella, Nicola Stati, Kamal Murad, and Max Popov in the top 20. Then Liu Kaishun and Kai Darianani. There were plenty of retirements. Maxi Restrepo, Gabriel Stilp, Rafael Narak, and Xu Yanpu, along with Fuyu Hao, Everett Stack, Zach Scholar, Enzo Deligny, and Deegan Fairclough. Notably, Reza Swerthen and Chester Kiefer did cross the line, albeit 1 lap and 3 laps down, respectfully. But that boy has done the business. Alex Powell, the young man from Miami in Florida with family in Kingston in Jamaica. His uncle, Asafa Powell, was the Olympic athlete legend. And now it looks like there's 2 fast members in the Powell family. Alex Powell has done a terrific job. So, the boy from Miami with Jamaican roots has done an exceptional job here in Dubai, having to go from barely any qualifying laps at all to charge his way through from 32nd on the grid in race 1 to 10th, to return that to 3rd on the grid, and then to come through for the victory. Jack Beaton celebrates with AGI Sport. They can be very happy. That's an even better podium than they had at Yas Marina, because not only did they take it with full gusto and determination, but they fought for it. Keanu Alazari delighted with 2nd place, and he has every reason to be. But Alex Powell, a first-time winner in F4 UAE. Excellent job. The Jamaican sensation, the boy from Miami, has come through to take his first win in a race that had absolutely everything. Drama, suspense, excitement, tough tactics, madness, but an absolute quaffle of talent. What an amazing race it's been. I'll leave you with the best bits as we head our way over to the podium ceremony. And I am delighted to say that we're going to have 3 very deserving drivers on the podium. Jack Beaton, Keanu Alazari, and the newest race winner in F4 UAE 2024, Alex Powell.
The Yazid superstar is back on the podium at home. But on the top spot for the United States of America, Alex Powell! His first win in the UAE, and he takes the Rookie Cup as well. What a fabulous trio of drivers. It's my honor to invite the General Manager of Dubai Autodrome, Mr. Fazal Al-Salawi. He will present the trophies to our drivers. Firstly, in third position for Australia and AGI Sport, Jack Beaton! And in second for the United Arab Emirates and the Yazid Academy, Keanu Alazari! And finally, to our race winner for the United States of America and the Mumbai Falcons, Alex Powell! He also receives the trophy for the Rookie Cup, so it is a very exciting day at the races. And genuinely, that's one of the most exciting podiums that I've seen for a long, long time. Not just here in Dubai, but in motorsport in general over the last few seasons. What a race, what a battle. That F4 encounter had absolutely everything written into it, and it's going to be very hard to do better than that in race 3 tomorrow morning here at Dubai Autodrome. So well done to our 3 competitors. They will have one final moment with the photographers, and then they can party. It's time for our drivers to get busy with the fizzy. An amazing celebration for Jack Beaton, for Keanu Alazari, and our race winner, Alex Powell. This F4 UAE title fight has just got good. Alazari taking a crucial 6 points out of Freddie Slater's lead. Beaton back on the podium, and a new winner in F4 UAE in Alex Powell. Race 3 will be back in action first thing tomorrow morning, but now we have a Formula Regional Middle East race to come.